What's going on, everybody? Welcome into a game day update. This is round one, game six. The Grizzlies are in Minnesota for game six today. They lead the series 3-2. They're looking to close it out. Timberwolves are looking to force a game seven. Tip-off is at 8 o'clock. Joining me today, once again, is Jon Krawczynski from Minnesota. How are we feeling today?
Well, we were just talking about it, KJ, like these games have been super tense. They try, your spirit a little bit. So I'm ready for the sixth version of that tonight. It's going to be, I think, pretty wild, just as the rest of them have been.
Yes. Okay. So the Grizzlies, speaking of tense, the Grizzlies pulled off another late victory in game five. This is game six now. Coach Jenkins said that it will take the Grizzlies' best game of the year to pull this W off. On the Timberwolves side, have you got a sense of what everyone's feeling, the vibe going into today?
Yeah, I mean, they are confident because they believe that this series should already be over. I mean, with the two big leads that they let the Grizzlies off the hook with, and all the credit to the Grizzlies for being able to scratch and claw back into it. But the Wolves were in great shape games 3 and game 5 to really pick up victories. And so they're coming in with confidence that they can play with the Grizzlies. This is a 2-7 matchup, but it hasn't been as lopsided as maybe a lot of 2-7s are. So they're very confident, but they're also knowing that they have so much to work on, especially late in games with the offense, the way that the Grizzlies have done a great job of turning them into just one jump shot and done. They have to find a way to smooth things out and run some real effective offense, or otherwise, the Grizzlies are just going to keep coming back and out executing them down the stretch. So that's been a big point of emphasis over the last day and a half or so.
Yeah, you said two things there. And the two words that I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, really apply to both of these teams when it comes to game 6, potential game 7. It's discipline and execution. And I think on the Grizzly side, the discipline comes from, Jaren Jackson Jr. not getting in foul trouble. It comes from running plays. It comes from not forcing things, not trying to play hero ball. And then execution is both ends. Like the Grizzlies have been going down by double digits almost every single game here, and they don't like to have to claw their way back. Like Josh said, like we're tired of playing from behind. They threw out that first punch in game 5, and then the Timberwolves came back and threw 4, 5, 6 more punches until the Grizzlies finally picked things up in the fourth quarter. So I'm wondering on the Timberwolves side, we're talking about discipline, as the Cat not getting into foul trouble too. We're talking about execution. If you take away, let's say, Cat, Anthony Edwards, no, just those two. Who needs to have a good game tonight? I know Malik Beasley's been good in some games. He's a guy who can give you 20, can give you 5. What are we going to see tonight? Who needs to step up?
Yeah, I mean, I think D'Angelo Russell has to sort of start to come to the party from a shot making standpoint. Now, I will say that for most of this season, it's been difficult for all 3 of their 3 best players, Russell, Towns, and Edwards, to all be clicking at the same time. Just the nature of their games sometimes means one has to take a back seat. And Russell, who during the regular season averaged more than 30 points a game against the Grizzlies, has really not done a whole lot in this series yet. And so I do think that it seems like every once in a while, just when you think D'Angelo Russell has nothing left in him, or like it is really, down in the dumps or whatever, he comes out and it has a big game. And so if he is able to knock down some threes in transition and get the crowd into it that way, I think that would give this team a big boost. Problems that has happened late in games is a lot of the time that's when D'Angelo tries to take over and tries to hit those tough pull-up shots either at the elbow or behind the 3-point line. And those haven't been dropping for the most part in this series. If he's able to knock down some shots early and get some confidence and then hit a few big ones late, then the Timberwolves, I think, are going to be in a good chance to force this to 7.
It's been such an interesting series in terms of the 3-point shooting. It hasn't been great. Let's be honest here. But you talk about your big 3. I think in the regular season, the big 3 for the Grizzlies when Dylan was playing was Ja, Jaren, Dylan. Sometimes you can put Dez in there in the big 3. But I think if you take away Ja's fourth quarter, some of his major streaks, the dunk that everyone's talking about, I think the best 2 guys, most consistent guys in this series for the Grizzlies have been Brandon Clark and Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane has been shooting the lights out. He shoots better on the road, which is a good sign for the Grizzlies. And then Brandon is averaging 6 more points, 3 more rebounds than he did the entire regular season. When you look at those two guys who have stepped up for the Grizzlies, what have you guys been thinking about them from that other side?
Right. Yeah. Well, first of all, I think Bane has been their best player, most consistent from start to finish in the series. And every time the ball finds him and he gets it up, you think it's going in. I mean, that's just how locked in that he's been. And the Wolves have, I think, had a harder time staying glued to him because of they're worried about Ja's penetration and a few other things. And so he's been terrific. But Brandon Clark has been Bill Russell 2.0. Like it's ridiculous, like how he's been able to. I think the most impressive thing, he's always played well against the Timberwolves. He's always really bothered them with his athleticism and just his tenacity. But in this series, the thing that is super impressive to me, and I think to most Wolves people, is that the Grizzlies have gone really small with him quite a bit. I mean, he's not playing next to Steven Adams. He's not, so a lot of times he's not playing next to Jaren Jackson because he's on the bench with foul trouble. So for him to still be able to be as effective as an offensive rebounder when he is the guy on the floor for Memphis is just such a testament to his heart and his will and his passion. It's incredible. I mean, 7 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter of game 5 is like Dennis Rodman stuff. Like it's insane. So that he is the one guy I really think that, the Wolves can say, well, maybe they can close out harder on Desmond Bane. Maybe they can make it more uncomfortable for him. And they've done that in this series where he's gotten a little quiet, but they have no answer for Brandon Clark right now. And, that is the big thing. And so, I saw that Taylor Jenkins was very smart in playing him huge minutes in game 5. I would imagine he's going to play huge minutes in game 6 because that's the guy that they just cannot seem to solve. And I don't know how they're going to attack that in game 6.
Yeah. And I think that is a similar, just for everyone at home, Steven Adams is out today. Like he's getting spot minutes, but he is out with health and safety protocol. So he will be getting 0 minutes tonight. You say that they have no answer for Brandon Clark, who is coming off the bench most of the time. I feel like the Grizzlies have no answer, honestly, on the defensive end for Cat when he's able to stay on the floor, because they're going at Jaren, which is smart on the Timberwolves side because he is prone to fouls. And then at the end of the game, they went real small. They put Dylan Brooks on him, which I don't think you'll see a lot of minutes. I think that was just because of foul trouble. But I mean, when Cat is able to stay on the floor and he attacks on the defensive end, I don't know how the Grizzlies can stop him if Cat is smart enough to be able to stay on the floor the way we want Jaren to be able to stay on the floor.
Yeah, I think there's 2 things there. Yeah, one, you hit it in terms of the foul trouble. He's got to be able to be on the floor for 40 minutes. Like the 2 games that he has played 40 plus minutes, they've won. The 3 that he has not played 40 minutes, they've lost. And so that's a key. But the other key for that goes back to the late game execution in terms of what we have seen too often so far in this series is Cat will get rolling, and then the Grizzlies will aggressively kind of double and try and keep the ball out of his hands, especially late. And that's when Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell and Patrick Beverley settle for jumpers and trying to, break the defense down. They're dribble, and then they're jacking late in the shot clock. And so what Chris Finch has really tried to drill into them over the last 2 days now here is to keep the ball moving. And that gives them a better chance to get it in Cat's hands, because you're right. When he is out there and when he has the ball, I mean, even in the fourth quarter of game 5, he was hitting big threes. He was drawing the doubles and opening things up for other teammates. And so that's going to be the key, is making sure that he stays heavily involved and gets lots of touches, and that the guys like Edwards and Russell and even Beverly to an extent don't turn this into hero ball, ISO ball, and kind of freeze him out of it.
Yeah. All right. Tip off is at 8:00 tonight. John, thank you so much. I'm hoping it ends tonight. I know you're hoping it goes to 7. Hopefully Pat Bev does like a too little with Jaw, get some hype at the beginning of the game. Who knows what we're in for, right?
I'm prepared for anything, especially the Wolves being unnecessarily overconfident when they have no reason to be. So we'll probably see a lot of intensity, a lot of those gestures, a lot of, well, we won't see any of this from Cat,